Chad Johnson was a 6-time Pro Bowler. He ran a foot race against a horse. He didn't even play football his first year of college. He played junior college alongside Steve Smith Sr. He shaved his mohawk to change his luck.
How's the lucky fin?
Lucky.
He had the best end zone celebrations. He once tried to bribe a ref on the field.
Just when I think you couldn't possibly be any dumber.
He played in the Mexican Football League. He also played Major League Soccer. He legally changed his name to his jersey number. He designed a smartphone app. He was on Dancing with the Stars, and he has 8 kids with 7 different women.
It's not as difficult as people think it would be, but I understand because it's a very unorthodox scenario.
Yeah.
And he once rode a bull professionally. This is the story of Chad Johnson, the realest wideout ever. Chad Johnson was born in Miami, Florida in 1978. He attended Miami Beach Senior High School, part of the 4th largest school district in America. There he grew up with his grandmother while his mom lived in California. Johnson was recruited by the likes of Florida State and Miami, but didn't have the grades to attend. Well, according to him. Instead, he first went to Langston University in Oklahoma, the westernmost HBCU in America, where he did not play in any sports. And they had a football team, he just didn't play for them. He then transferred west to, you guessed it, Santa Monica Community College. He wanted to be closer to his mom. There he played alongside future football and trash-talking legend Steve Smith Sr. He played there in 1997, then fell 1 credit short and was forced to sit out the 98 season. At that point, he felt like giving up, he said, saying maybe football wasn't meant for him. He went back to Santa Monica for 1999, finally matching his success on the field with his success in the classroom. After his JUCO days, he was recruited by the likes of UCLA and USC. Johnson instead transferred to Oregon State University, where he once again was lining up next to a future NFL star. This was also his future NFL teammate, TJ Houshmandzadeh. Chad only played 1 season in Corvallis, racking up over 850 yards and breaking the OSU record for longest touchdown in a game at 97 yards. He was drafted with the 36th pick in the 2001 NFL Draft, where he would fit right in with the Cincinnati Bengals. While he only played sparingly his rookie season, Johnson was about to seriously break out. Then he freaking did. Chad Johnson would go over 1,100 yards in the next 6 seasons straight, including setting the Bengals franchise records for yards in a season 4 separate times. Between 2003 and 2007, he made the Pro Bowl 5 straight times. In 2006, he started slowly through the first 8 weeks of the season before he did the only normal thing to change his luck. He shaved his mohawk. He then proceeded to rake in 260 yards and 2 scores the next week against the Chargers, setting a Bengals record for the most yards in a game. Receiving, that is. The next week he went for 190 in the air, becoming the first NFL player to have 450 yards in back-to-back games. Fantasy owners loved him. While his play on the field did plenty of talking, Johnson did his fair share of yapping off of it. He ranked number 1 in a 2006 poll by Fox Sports of the top 10 showboats in all of professional sports. He also tried to bribe a ref on the field. In week 1 of the 2007 season, after scoring a 39-yard touchdown from Carson Palmer, he grabbed a mock NFL Hall of Fame jacket that said, Future Hall of Fame, 20 who knows when. He would go on to break the Bengals franchise record for receiving yards that year. Coming into the 2008 season, Johnson began to feel disrespected by the Cincinnati media and the Bengals, saying he was called selfish and a cancer. He threatened to sit out the entire season, even saying to former Redskins owner Daniel Snyder, "Call me Dan." Okay, he's got to be one of the few people on earth that wants Dan Snyder to call him. Snyder and the Skins offered the Bengals picks in 2008 and 2009, including a first rounder, but Cincy declined. Then he did something more unhinged than that one account on Instagram that shows only unhinged encounters. He legally changed his name to Chad Ochocinco. For those of you that don't know, Ocho is 8 and Cinco is 5. It would be like me legally changing my name to Adam Cinco Puntos. Yes. He went on to have by far his worst statistical season with the Bengals since his rookie season, barely even topping 500 yards and only scoring 4 times. After once again being on the trade market in 2009, the Eagles and the Giants both tried to get him, but it didn't didn't work out. But Johnson had plenty of fun before the season began, threatening to use Twitter in-game. In a preseason game with kicker Shane Graham hurt, he kicked off and made an extra point in that game. Those kicking skills would be tested later. He eventually would bounce back, notching his 7th 1,000-yard season and his 6th Pro Bowl selection. After he agreed to restructure his contract, very similar to how Randy Moss did his, Ocho Cinco was traded to the New England Patriots for a 5th and a 6th round pick. In New England, he shockingly didn't fit into the Patriot way, leading to the worst season of his career with only 15 catches, 1 score, and less than 300 yards before the Pats ultimately cut the former star. He latched on with the Miami Dolphins next, only to be released 2 months later following an arrest. We'll come back to this later. After Miami, now known as Chad Johnson again, he signed with the Montreal Alouettes of the Canadian Football League on a 2-year deal. In 5 games in the CFL, he had 7 catches for 150 yards and 1 touchdown. Not even close to what he was. He was then suspended by the Alouettes after he failed to show up to training camp, and they proceeded to suspend him for the entire season. Dang, the Alouettes be signing Americans and then suspending them. Johnny Manziel. That would be the end of his career right now. Johnson played 1 game for the Fundidores de Monterrey in the Mexican Football League in 2017. He had a 41-yard touchdown in that 1 game. Now, trouble. Remember that arrest I told you about? Chad was married to basketball wives star Evelyn Lozada. He was arrested for domestic battery in 2012, and he was released by the Dolphins later that day. According to reports, he headbutted Lozada during an argument, and she filed for divorce just days later. He agreed to a plea and avoided any jail time, but it effectively ended his NFL career. While on probation, he decided following the terms weren't that important, and he was arrested once again in May of 2013. Although a plea deal that was called for no jail time was reached, Judge Kathleen McHugh rejected it after Johnson playfully slapped his male attorney on the ass in court. I mean, it's either slap your lawyer's ass in court or get your cheeks clapped in a shower, and apparently he did both. Fun off the field. Now let's get into the wild shit. He has 8 children with 7 different women, including kids named Chad Johnson II and Ocho Cinco Johnson Jr. Yes, the kid's name is Ocho Cinco. In 2010, he designed a smartphone app called Mad Chad. The same year, he was on Dancing with the Stars. He made it to the Final 4, where he became the show's 100th all-time contestant eliminated. He had a segment on Versus, remember that channel, called Chow Please.
Chow Please? No. I won. Stop.
He was on his own reality dating show called Ocho Cinco, The Ultimate Catch. Again, in 2010, he was also on WWE Raw. During the NFL lockout in 2011, Ocho announced that he would have a 4-day trial with Sporting Kansas City of the MLS. Playing soccer, he is still a huge fan. He played in 1 reserve game. He also proved that being an athlete and doing another sport is really, really hard. Right, CM Punk? He continued his career in 2018, signing for Boca Raton FC, playing forward for the team, and he actually scored 3 goals. Also, during the lockout, he participated in a professional bull riding event. He rode a bull named Deja Blue, lasting only 1.5 seconds, which was longer than you on your prom night. Deja Blue weighs 1,500 pounds, if you were wondering, which is also less than your mom.
Oh my God, you want to talk about mama?
He boxed some guy named Brian Maxwell on the undercard for the Floyd Mayweather versus Logan Paul fight in 2021. And since it was an exhibition, nobody was declared the winner. On TV, he appeared in 2 of the greatest football shows of all time, Blue Mountain State and The League, 2 absolute classics. Lastly, I will leave you with this. Chad Johnson beating a live horse. Yes, this really happened.
But do you remember this? This morning we're going into the WCPO vault. That's 10 years ago now, believe it or not. And that's when Chad raced the 4-year-old colt named Restore the Roar at Cincinnati's River Downs.
When I crossed and looked back, he was way back. So I'm officially the fastest in the world.
Okay, maybe he beat us, but the fact that he beat us by a lot, he beat us very easy. And, there just wasn't no catching him today.